Want to be a VTuber on TikTok Live but can't figure out how people are actually doing it? Don't worry, I was in the same boat. TikTok works a little bit differently from Twitch or YouTube. The desktop workflow is kind of messy. Different accounts get different options, and most tutorials skip the parts that actually matter. And there's one trick TikTok kind of forces you to use that most tutorials don't explain. So in this video, I'm going to show you my preferred lower overhead workflow for streaming as a VTuber on TikTok Live. We'll cover OBS, Meld Studio, and Streamlabs, and I'll show you how you can keep most of your setup inside your main streaming software. And if you're just getting started with VTubing, I also link my free VTuber PDF resources as well as my free resource hub below with tools, setup, help, and beginner resources that I really wish I had when I started. So if you're ready, let's get into it. To get us started, we're going to talk about TikTok Live requirements. If you look this up, or if you've talked to anyone, you've probably heard that you need about 1,000 followers to go live on TikTok, but that's not true. In my case, I got accepted with under 100 followers right when I was starting out. So if you're below 1,000, it's always worth trying. And if you get denied, I strongly recommend trying again later because access can vary a lot by different accounts in different regions. Quick note, most everything in this video relies on TikTok Live Studio, so if you haven't already, go ahead and click the link down in the description and download that. Once you click download, just go through the prompts that pop up to finish installing. Next, how this workflow even works. Here's the biggest thing to understand. TikTok's desktop workflow is not as simple as Twitch. For this tutorial, the goal is to keep your layout, model, and scenes inside your main streaming software and then pass the finished results onto TikTok. That means we'll send the video over with a virtual camera and then route the audio separately a little later so TikTok hears the same mix as your other platforms. That way you don't have to rebuild your whole stream inside TikTok Live Studio, and it's a little bit easier on your resources, which we know VTubers need. One thing I do want to mention is virtual camera access. This is one thing a lot of creators run into, and I did as well. On some accounts, including my own, the virtual camera doesn't seem to be available right away inside of TikTok Live Studio. I couldn't find a clear official TikTok page explaining that part, but I myself had to do 3 live streams first before I could use the virtual camera on TikTok. So if you're brand new and you don't see that option yet, don't panic. What I recommend and what I did is to do your first few live streams without the model, just faceless gameplay, desktop, whatever makes sense for your stream, and just set up a very simple scene in TikTok Live Studio with whatever you need for that stream aside from your model. Then after those 3 short live streams, you'll be able to add the virtual camera. Also to note, TikTok safety tips. There's a few things I would avoid on TikTok Live. I've learned this from experience. I would not put any photos on the live stream. Don't put photos of your model. It would likely get flagged. I did that because I was trying to get around the virtual camera. But I would also avoid text or graphics pushing people to Twitch or YouTube. It's both a good way to keep your stream cleaner and avoid unnecessary moderation issues. Also, in my experience, if your model shows a little skin, like mine kind of does, or it takes up too much of the screen, TikTok moderation can get a little weird about it. I've mostly had trouble with this in scenes where my model is the main focus, and I had fewer issues with this once I made the model smaller on the screen. So keep your layout simple and just focus on the stream itself. Now, to get this started, we're going to start with OBS. OBS is my favorite streaming platform to use. For OBS, my favorite way to do this is with Aitum Stream Suite. Aitum Stream Suite combines Aitum's vertical and multi-stream tools into one setup, which makes it a really nice option if you want to build vertical content for TikTok without messing up your normal OBS layout. So install Aitum Stream Suite, which is linked down in the description, completely restart your OBS after that installs, and then we can build the vertical version of the stream. Now you can create your vertical scene. Just make this 1080 by 1920. Add your game capture, VTuber model, chat if you want. I use Caster Labs for multi-chat, and any other overlays you want for your TikTok. If you need backgrounds used for tools or any other VTuber setup help, this is also where my free VTuber PDF resources and that free resource hub can help. So I linked those below as well. The background I use in my TikTok Live is also from that resource hub. One thing I've noticed from testing is that TikTok can crop the frame a little weirdly, so I like to keep important elements more centered or slightly to the right. So if it looks a little off-centered here, that's why. Next, we need to actually send that vertical canvas as a camera source. This is the part that can get a little bit confusing. OBS does have its own built-in vertical camera, but for this workflow, you don't want to rely on the normal OBS vertical camera button. Since we're using Aitum Stream Suite and a separate vertical canvas, you'll want to create the virtual camera output from the Aitum multi-stream dock instead. So inside the Aitum dock, add a virtual camera output and make sure it's using your vertical canvas. That gives you a camera source based on the vertical setup you made in Aitum instead of that normal OBS output. Now we can head back over to TikTok Live Studio. For the camera source, click this drop down and choose your OBS virtual camera. And at this point, your model and layout should now be showing inside of TikTok Live Studio. And you just want to resize it and make sure everything looks good. And that's the big hurdle most people are actually trying to solve first. I know that's what I struggled with most when I was trying to live stream on TikTok. Also, note that to get the virtual camera to start, you have to toggle it on every time you want to stream in OBS. If this is helping already, feel free to subscribe and follow along. I'm going to be posting a lot more guides on getting started with VTubing, stream setup help, and ways to make this all less confusing. Before we do audio, let's quickly cover how this idea translates into Meld and Streamlabs. With Meld Studio, there's basically two possible TikTok paths depending on what access you have. If you have a TikTok server URL and stream key, Meld can send to TikTok more directly, but I was not able to get that information. And if you don't have that kind of direct path, Meld also has a virtual camera workflow. So the general idea is the same. You build your vertical scene in Meld, turn on Meld Virtual Camera, and select that camera inside TikTok Live Studio. Now, for Streamlabs, there's only one possible path that I've been able to figure out. Some creators may have a native TikTok connection available inside Streamlabs. I unfortunately had a lot of difficulties with this, and this is one of the reasons why I switched to OBS, but if you're able to do that, then it should work out great for you. And if your account doesn't have that option, unfortunately Streamlabs does not have the ability to use a virtual camera with the vertical scene, so you'll have to use a different streaming platform. If any of you have found a different workaround with Streamlabs, please let me know down in the comments, because this is one I struggled with a little bit. Now finally, let's make the audio match, because video is only half of the setup. This is the part that confuses a lot of people and confused me for a while as well. The virtual camera handles the video, but your audio still needs to be routed separately so TikTok hears the same mix. I personally use a bit more of an advanced audio setup, but for this tutorial, I'm just showing how to use the VP cable because it's the simplest way to get your TikTok audio working without turning this into a full audio routing lesson. And if you're interested in how streamers separate music from the rest of their stream audio, that's usually done by splitting audio tracks. If you want a tutorial on how to set that up for multi-streaming or TikTok, let me know down in the comments. VP cable is basically a virtual audio cable. You send audio into one side and TikTok listens to the other side. So first, you gotta install it. So go over to the link in the description and install VB cable. To download the virtual cable, you'll just click that download button and then open up the folder. You're gonna wanna right click extract all. You can extract it all in your downloads, that's fine. And then once that extracts, you're gonna open up the folder and then scroll down to where you see VB cable _ setup. Then double click and open up that application and then go through all of the setup steps it tells you to. You don't see the setup steps on my end because I've already set it up, but yours will look different. Just follow all of the prompts that come up and then you'll be good to go. Next, head back over to the OBS settings and then go to audio and set your monitoring device to cable input. This tells OBS where to send any monitored audio. Now in OBS, open advanced properties. For the audio sources you want TikTok to hear, like your mic, game audio, alerts, or whatever else you want in the stream mix, set them to monitor and output. That sends those sources into VB cable while still letting OBS use them normally. Now we can head back over to TikTok Live Studio. For your audio and microphone input, choose cable output. So your setup ends up looking like this. Camera, OBS virtual camera, and then audio input, cable output. That way, TikTok gets the same audio mix you built in OBS without needing a more advanced mixer. And also, if you added any filters to your mic or did a lot of setup with your mic, you get that same mic quality sent to TikTok as well. One important thing here, make sure TikTok Live Studio is not also grabbing your mic or desktop audio separately. You want to open those mic settings and mute anything else. Otherwise, you can get doubled audio or echo. Also note, sometimes TikTok will just change your audio settings, so make sure you double check that every time you hit that go live button. For Meld and Streamlabs, if you're using Meld or Streamlabs with the TikTok Live Studio workflow, the audio idea is basically the same. Use the virtual camera for video, and then route the audio mix you want into the VP cable and set TikTok's input to cable output. For the virtual cable in Streamlabs, you're going to click down on the gear icon down in the audio mixer section, and then you'll tab over to global settings and click that drop down for audio monitoring device, and that's where you'll select the virtual cable. For Meld, all you'll need to do is select that gear icon down in the bottom right corner, and then head over to the audio tab. Then you'll see the drop down for output device and you'll select the virtual cable there. And lastly, a couple performance tips, because VTubing is a lot on your PC. Keep your vertical scene simple. When you start adding a lot of browser and audio sources, things can start getting a little laggy. Avoid extra plugins you don't actually need. Go through them routinely and see which ones you can get rid of. Close random background apps before you go live. Make sure anything you don't need is open. Even Discord, if you don't need it, can take up quite a few resources. Use a lighter browser while streaming if your system's already working hard. I was using Opera for a long time until I realized it was using a ton of my RAM. So currently I'm using Brave browser because it uses less resources. These kind of things matter even more when you're running a VTuber model and can very, very quickly creep up and cause your stream to crash. And that's how I'd recommend setting up TikTok Live as a VTuber right now. The big takeaway is this. The exact TikTok options you can get vary a ton by account and region, but the core idea is the same. Build the stream where you have the most control and then pass the finished result into TikTok in the cleanest way possible. And if you're getting into VTubing, don't forget to grab the free VTuber PDF resources I linked down below, or check out that resource hub that I'm currently still working on and constantly adding new resources to. I'm also working on more tutorials around VTuber setups, OBS tools, and stream tech, so let me know what you'd like to see next. And if you run into any issues, feel free to drop a comment or join our community Discord. Me and my community would love to help whenever we can. But thank you so much for being here. I hope this video helped you out, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.